In high-stakes domains like finance, healthcare, and hiring, machine learning models aren't just tools, they're decision makers. And when they go wrong, the consequences can be severe. Regulatory fines, reputational damage, even life-altering outcomes for individuals. But validating these models isn't straightforward. Unlike traditional software, ML systems don't fail with clear error messages. They fail silently, through bias, drift, overconfidence, or hidden fragilities, often only surfacing after deployment. Today, we're diving deep into a new solution, DeepBridge, a unified, production-ready framework that transforms multi-dimensional machine learning validation from a fragmented manual chore into a fast, automated, and audit-ready process. Let's break it down. In real-world production environments, validating an ML model requires checking multiple dimensions: fairness, robustness, uncertainty, resilience, and sensitivity to hyperparameters. But here's the catch: no single tool does it all. Practitioners today must stitch together 5 or more specialized libraries: AI Fairness 360 for fairness, Alibi Detect for robustness, UQ 360 for uncertainty quantification, and others, each with its own data format, API, and configuration. This leads to days of manual integration, data reformatting across tools, inconsistent results due to synchronization errors, high cognitive load and risk of human error. And that's before even considering regulatory compliance. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, demands the 80% rule in hiring systems. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act, ECOA, requires specific reasons for adverse decisions. The GDPR guarantees the right to explanation. Yet existing tools don't verify these rules automatically. Teams must manually calculate metrics, cross-reference regulations, and write reports by hand, a process that's not only slow but also prone to oversight. The result? A validation workflow that's inefficient, error-prone, and ill-suited for production. DeepBridge is an 80,000-line open-source Python library designed from the ground up to solve this exact problem. It unifies 5 critical validation dimensions: fairness, robustness, uncertainty, resilience, and hyperparameter sensitivity, under a single, consistent scikit-learn-style API. But more than that, it automates regulatory compliance and generates audit-ready reports in minutes. Let me show you how. At the heart of DeepBridge is the DBDataset, a unified data container. You create it once with your dataset, target column, trained model, and protected attributes, and then reuse it across all validation tasks. No more converting data into 10 different formats. No more duplicating memory. No more synchronization bugs. DBDataset auto-infers. Task type, classification, regression. Feature types, continuous, categorical, binary. Sensitive attributes via regex matching. And it uses lazy evaluation. Expensive operations like predictions or embeddings are computed only when needed, reducing initialization time and memory usage. This single container becomes the foundation for every test. Next comes the experiment class, the orchestrator. You configure your validation pipeline in just a few lines. Behind the scenes, DeepBridge runs 5 specialized test managers in parallel. Fairness Test Manager, 15 metrics including disparate impact, equal opportunity, and equalized odds. Robustness Test Manager, perturbation tests, adversarial attacks adapted for tabular data. Uncertainty Test Manager, calibration via expected calibration error, ECE, conformal prediction with guaranteed coverage. Resilience Test Manager, detects 5 types of distribution shift: covariate, concept, prior, posterior, and joint drift, using psi, KL divergence, Wasserstein distance, and ADWIN. Hyperparameter Test Manager, sensitivity analysis via permutation importance. And because these tests are independent, they run in parallel using a smart scheduler that adapts to CPU and memory availability. The result? Up to 70% faster validation compared to sequential execution. This is where DeepBridge becomes revolutionary. It's the first framework to automatically verify EEOC and ECOA compliance. EEOC 80% rule automatically checks that disparate impact greater or equal to 0.8 for all protected groups. EEOC question 21 ensures minimum 2% representation per demographic group. ECOA generates compliant adverse action notices for rejected applicants. In one of our case studies, a credit scoring model, DeepBridge, detected a disparate impact of 0.74 for gender, below the 0.8 threshold. The model was retrained before deployment, avoiding a potential EEOC violation. And here's the key: 100% accuracy in violation detection, 0 false positives across 6 real-world domains. No more manual spreadsheets. No more missed red flags. Reports used to take hours to format: PowerPoint slides, Word documents, manually inserted charts. DeepBridge changes that. Its template-driven reporting system generates interactive HTML reports with dynamic visualizations, professional PDFs with corporate branding, JSON outputs for integration. Each report includes full statistical analysis, subgroup vulnerability detection via beam search, mitigation recommendations, compliance team-approved structure. In one healthcare case, a triage model was validated in 23 minutes, and the report, complete with S equals 0, 042, conformal prediction intervals and drift detection, was approved by the Medical Ethics Committee without edits. Time saved, 98% reduction in report generation. But DeepBridge doesn't stop at validation. It also tackles the production cost of high-performing models. Ensemble models like XGBoost or LightGBM are accurate but heavy. Latency 100 ms, memory 1 GB, expensive at scale. Enter HPM-KD, hierarchical progressive multi-teacher knowledge distillation. This framework uses a chain of progressively smaller students. Teacher right arrow student 1, right arrow student 2, right arrow final student. Each stage refines the model, bridging the gap between complex teachers and compact students. Key innovations. Attention-weighted multi-teacher ensemble learns optimal weights for combining teacher predictions. Meta-learned temperature scheduling adapts the soft label smoothing based on task difficulty. Progressive distillation, gradual transfer prevents catastrophic forgetting. We tested HPM-KD on CIFAR 100 with compression ratios from 2.3 times to 7.0 times. And the results? Consistent superiority over direct training. Plus 100 percentage points at 2.3 times. Plus 0.57 at 5.0 times. Plus 204 at 7.0 times, p 0.001. And statistically significant across all ratios. This confirms a key insight. Knowledge distillation becomes more effective as the teacher-student gap grows, especially at compression ratios greater or equal to 5 times. In production, this means 10 3 times model compression, 2.4 GB right arrow 230 MB. 10 4 times speedup in latency, 125 ms right arrow 12 ms. 10 times reduction in inference cost. DeepBridge has been deployed in production at financial services, healthcare, and tech organizations, processing millions of predictions monthly. Let's look at the results. In credit scoring, a model was flagged for gender-based disparity, DI equals 0.74. It was retrained, preventing a regulatory violation. In hiring, a resume screening system detected a disparate impact of 0.59 for race. The report was approved by legal teams, and deployment proceeded safely. In healthcare, a triage model showed excellent calibration, S equals 0.042, conformal prediction coverage, and 0 fairness violations, approved by ethics boards. Across all 6 domains, credit, hiring, healthcare, mortgage, insurance, fraud, DeepBridge. Reduced validation time by 89%, 17 minutes versus 150 minutes. Cut report generation time by 98%. Achieved 100% compliance report approval. Detected 4 out of 6 violations automatically. And usability. A study with 20 data scientists and ML engineers showed. SUS score of 87.5, top 10%, excellent. 95% success rate. Average time to first validation, 12 minutes. NASA TLX cognitive load, 28,100 low. 3 principles set it apart. 1. Create once, validate anywhere. Eliminate data fragmentation with a single container. 2. Intelligent parallel execution. Run tests concurrently with adaptive scheduling and caching. 3. Familiar API, scikit-learn compatible, low learning curve, pipeline ready. No more juggling 10 libraries. No more writing custom glue code. DeepBridge solves 3 critical pain points. Tool fragmentation, right arrow unified API, shared data container. Manual compliance, right arrow, automatic EEOC, ECOA verification. Slow error-prone reporting, right arrow instant, professional audit-ready output. And it goes further. With HPM-KD, it enables efficient model compression without sacrificing accuracy. It's not just a tool. It's a production-ready validation stack. DeepBridge is open source under the MIT license. You can find it at github.com/deepbridgevalidation/deepbridge with full documentation at DeepBridge, read the docs, EO. Future work includes extending support to deep learning, time series, NLP, causal fairness, and interactive remediation tools. But for now, the message is clear. Validation doesn't have to be slow, fragmented, or risky. With DeepBridge, it can be fast, unified, and trustworthy. Thank you for watching. If you're building or deploying ML systems in production, this is the framework you've been waiting for.